Hey, what's up guys, Anmol here and you're watching the full review of the Huawei Nova 3E. If you follow Huawei, then you must know that they produce some good mid-range smartphones. Recently they released their flagship smartphone, the P20, and this phone. Yes, it looks like the P20, but this is a mid-range offering from Huawei, the Huawei Nova 3E, an update to the last year's Huawei Nova 2i. And I've been using this device for a few weeks now, so let's see how good this is. Huawei Nova 3E looks stunning and feels just as good in the hands. The glass back gives it a premium look and the aluminum frame provides the necessary rigidity to the device. Also, these rounded edges adds to the smoothness of the device and the antenna bands are well hidden. Now, if we move on to the front, the minimum bezels all around looks appealing and yes, there's a notch at the top. People seem to have divided opinion over the notch, but if you ask me, I'm comfortable with it. It does not get in the way of the contents, well, most of the times, because there are some exceptions. However, there's an option to hide the notch, but I prefer to have the notch. On the left, we get a hybrid dual SIM slot and all of the buttons are placed on the left. On the bottom, we have a headphone jack, speaker, and finally, Huawei has decided to include a USB-C port in the Nova series. More good news, it also supports fast charging, a definite step up from its siblings. I must say I'm really impressed with the design and the build quality of this device is slick, smooth and solid. Triple S. Display is where you'll notice some major differences from the Nova 2i and the other mid-range smartphones. Nova 3 sports a trendy edge-to-edge screen, a trend that will haunt all of the 2018 smartphones, most likely. It's an IPS LCD panel with a screen resolution of 1080 by 2280. The minimum bezels and the tall 19:9 aspect ratio means that the screen takes almost whole surface of the phone. And it looks really good. The display is crisp and it has to be one of the best displays in the mid-range smartphones. The colors look punchy and it's bright enough. The viewing angles are great and you won't have any problems with the display in outdoor condition as well. Well, display is certainly one of the main highlights of the Nova 3E. For the hardware, we get 4GB of RAM, 64GB of internal storage which can be expanded using microSD. Meanwhile, the chipset remains the same as of the Nova 2i, the high silicon Kirin 659. As a matter of fact, Huawei 2018 also has the same chipset, but the performance on the Nova 3 is much better than its siblings. Internet browsing, opening apps and multitasking were smooth. RAM management on this device is pretty impressive actually. Most of the apps and games did not require reloads even when plenty of apps were open on the background. However, graphic-intensive heavy games like Shadowgun will not run as smooth and you'll definitely detect stutters. On a positive note, it did not get too warm even when pushed to the extreme. Now talking about the user experience, you do get settled with the EMUI as you keep on using it. It's a skin on top of the Android Oreo 8.0 and there have been some major improvements over time and it's packed with features. There are lots of modes, like the one-handed mode which allows you to use your phone easily with the one hand. Onto the display side of things, you can actually change the screen resolution from FHD Plus to 720 if you want to conserve battery or increase performance when it comes to gaming. It also allows you to totally hide the navigation bar pretty much everywhere. It gives you a little arrow and when you press that, the navigation bar goes away and when you swipe up, it reappears. So thanks to this, you can have a full screen experience. There are some motion features. You can swipe with 3 fingers to take the screenshot and you can even take the scrolling screenshot which allows you to take the screenshot of the full display as long as you can scroll. Talking about security, we have a fingerprint sensor which is very good and responsive, and as with most smartphones these days, the Nova 3 comes with a face unlock which worked quite well as long as the lighting was favorable. Now let's talk camera. Huawei Nova 3E has a 16 megapixel and a 2 megapixel camera on the back with an aperture of f2.2 and on the front it has an improved 16 megapixel sensor with an aperture of f2.0. The rear camera setup looks like the P20 but it's not the Leica camera. The camera app is fairly easy to use and provides a wide variety of modes such as HDR, panorama, night shot and time lapse. And there's a fully featured Pro mode as well for both photo and video. Talking about camera's real life performance, photos captured from the rear camera in favorable light are quite impressive. Level of detail and colors are good and has a very good dynamic range. Like the Huawei 2018 and the Nova 2i, photos captured with Nova 3 also has that hint of saturated color and nice contrast. There's also a wide aperture mode, allows you to take shot with depth of field effect which are decent at best. There's also a portrait mode and it seems to do a good job with nice amount of blur and average edge detection. However, it is not as good in low light situation. The noise is more or less kept under control but the image seems over-sharpened and overexposed. AR stickers are implemented quite well. If you're into it, it's a nice way to kill some time with your friends. Now let's move on to the front camera. The front camera manages to capture nice details but struggles under low light situation. You can capture some nice looking portrait photos with the front camera with good amount of blur. Battery is nothing out of the ordinary. It has a 3000 mAh battery, but coupled with a power efficient Kirin 659 chipset, it will last you a full day if you're an average user. Meaning, if you're a power user who likes to play games, then you'll have to recharge it again before the end of the day. For me, the battery was good enough. It would usually last me till I got home, had to charge around 7 to 8 p.m. My usage mostly includes plenty of social media, Spotify and 30 to 40 minutes of gaming. I would have loved a bigger battery in this one, just like the Huawei 2018 or even the Nova 2i. So this phone is a great option if you're looking for a fabulous build quality, good design and a decent camera model. However, it has the same processor as the Huawei Nova 2i or even the Huawei 2018, but the performance seems to be much more optimized. And you're paying that extra little bit for the all-new design, build quality and the camera. So I guess that's it for the full review of the Huawei Nova 3e. If you want to know anything else, do mention it in the comments below. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.